Good morning, it's the Anfield Wrap Live with me, Gareth Roberts, and him, Mo Stewart. Talking Reds live, I should say. How are we, mate?
I'm good, man, I'm good.
Thanks for joining us. People already jumping in the comments as well, which is good. Thanks very much. Inter Milan tonight, of course, at Anfield, a big game, a big name. We're all looking forward to that. But before all that, just a few little things in the news today, because you knew that we were playing Inter Milan. We'll come on to that. But I wanted to mention, what did I want to mention? Oh yeah, Henderson. Henderson's done a big interview with BT, with Rio Ferdinand. One of the things that came up was Mo Salah's contract, of course. He says, for me, yeah, I'll be biased, won't I? But for me, he's been phenomenal for a number of seasons. The numbers that he's got, goals, assists, but even his general play, his work rate for the team, his leadership within the group. He's an outstanding player, and hopefully he can keep going from strength to strength and help us to be more successful in the future. Ferdinand then replied, any sign of that new deal? To which Henderson replied, that'd be nice. Yeah. And then there's like, since, I don't know if it's because of that or as well as that, but there seems to be sort of a lot of these in the know, shadowy, Twittery type people saying, I've heard there's a contract brewing, which again, as we've just said, would be nice because, you know, Mo is now literally the 9th top goal scorer in the history of Liverpool Football Club. So you should probably sign that man up.
I reckon that's probably a good idea, yeah. It's interesting for me because it all kind of quietened down a little bit, didn't it? No one was talking about it either way, and that's because we had football matches that we were winning, and that was taking the precedent. And suddenly there's a little bit of a lull, and then suddenly it all comes back again. But essentially, in my mind, the reason there is a lull is because we've still got football matches to win. And
yeah, that's the only reason.
We've seen it many, many times in the past where players have said, I don't want to go through all these negotiations during the season. Leave it to the end of the season and we'll come back to it. And yeah, that means it's quite nerve-wracking for us because obviously once it gets to the end of the season, then the landscape changes somewhat because obviously he's got less time left on his deal. There's more different things open to him if he is thinking those ways. But I genuinely believe that this is just something of them saying, like, you know what, we've got a real chance of winning all here. Like, any outside distractions, let's just put them away. Let's just park it all, concentrate on the pitch, and that's the best way for me.
I get that argument, but equally, you know, I've seen Wayne Rooney talking this week, and he was talking about, you know, the difference between being a player and a manager and what was more difficult and blah, blah, blah. And he's quite good, actually, I thought. And I quite fancy watching that Rooney documentary, but I haven't got Prime. Is it good? Yeah. I don't want to get on that. But anyway, I digress. He was basically saying that, you know, obviously much more difficult being a manager, more to think about, you know, constantly on the go and all that kind of stuff. He's saying, whereas when you're a player, he said, even if you're like a dedicated player and you put it in, he said, you know, by half two. and I was like, well, someone can just bell Mo at like 3-ish and just say, so this contract thing,
no,
so we just box it. Because I mean, you know, it's you know, Henderson mentions his assist and his goal. It's 236 games for Liverpool now, 152 goals and 53 assists in all comps. So as I say, that puts him now only 6 goals behind Michael Owen. And obviously if he overtakes Owen, he'll become the 8th best goal scorer in the history of Liverpool Football Club.
When he overtakes Owen.
Yeah, absolutely, when. And then the next person in his sights after that is Kenny Dalglish. Like, this is
all right.
So this is literally, statistically, and with your eyes, everything. This is one of the best players to ever play for our football club. Get it fucking sorted.
Yeah. I've always wondered what the real issue is. Is it a case of finances? Is it a case of, you know, he was talking about feeling loved and appreciated, which for some people is still a euphemism for finances, but for others it's more about, you know, playing time, leadership roles, all those kind of things. It
feels like he's been managed well though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, the interesting thing for me, right, like I was at the game on Saturday and I think there was a feeling in the ground, and most people watching the game when it was on about 65, 70 minutes, it's like, if I look at the 3 forwards, the one who's playing the least well at the moment is Mo Salah. If I was going to be replacing a forward at this point, it would be Mo Salah.
In the game?
In the game.
No.
It's a substitution. But there was a point in my mind I was just thinking, what if he doesn't? Like, what if he's in a situation now, if the idea of taking him off and him having a strop
Yeah, like the untouchable.
Yeah, it becomes a problem. And that's not the kind of thing you want to have in the dressing room like ours. So I was actually really pleased when Klopp subbed him off. And yes, he was unhappy, but I was watching, I was literally looking right into his eyes. And it's like, that was the look of a man who was unhappy with himself.
Yeah, there was no strop, was there? No. And the Klopp got asked about it yesterday as well, and he just sort of said, well, it's just the same as anyone else. Yes. We had fresh legs on the bench in Jota, and you're right, he was the one who deserved to go off. I mean, you know, I think from the first minute when he misses that chance that normally puts away, it was in his head from there on in. And he did some all right stuff, you know, elsewhere on the pitch, but in front of goal, he wasn't at it, was he?
And I think if there was a situation where I felt like the club was scared to go against him by taking him off, then that would be a concern for me in these contract negotiations. The fact that that didn't happen makes me think that this is still going to get sorted. It's just going to, you know, unfortunately, we're going to be waiting.
Come on. Hit us with it.
Well, I don't know, maybe
they're saving it for after the European Cup final. You know, so just like when we get to the final, should the worst happen in the final and we don't win, they go, here's new contract.
We'll be back.
Because we'll obviously get to the final.
Yeah, I think so. Like, well, I mean, obviously we need
second favourites now to win the whole thing. Okay, other little bit is that Minamino, who's on the slide, done quite well this season when he's been given opportunity. Leeds United could revive their interest in him, according to journalist Pete O'Rourke. Hiya, Pete. The former Red Bull player arrived in 2020, 7.25 million fee, blah, 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 blah. New Leeds manager has previous experience of working with him during their time at Salzburg, etc. and so on. So there's I don't know. This feels a little bit like, that manager's gone there. They're going to need someone to score goals.
2 + 2
this fella here,
yeah,
he doesn't play that much for them. That'll do. Let's write a story.
Yeah, I think the idea of where Minamino was in terms of his Liverpool career, even on the 1st of February to now, feels very different. Because during the January transfer window, I think most people were kind of like, yeah, if he stays, then fair enough, but he felt expendable. Like when Diaz came in, it felt like he was the one who was going to be potentially sacrificed for a squad place, for example. But like you say, he is doing the job that he needs to do within this squad. The games where he is the more important player, the domestic cups, he's balling out. And yes, he will probably want more opportunities in the bigger games, but the way to do that is to do exactly what he's doing. And also, if he was considering leaving, like Leeds, I'm sorry, I enjoy watching them, but playing for them looks like absolute fucking graft. I would want no part of that whatsoever.
Whoa. Halt all proceedings. Ian Gallagher in the comments. Robbo, send me the address of the Anfield Wrap HQ and I'll post over some Barry's tea.
Oh my God. I knew it was going to be about tea. I don't know why I bothered.
Michael, can you reply to him there with the address, yeah? We'll lash it in the comments, mate. What a guy.
I mean, here's me making serious football points, but no.
Tea and crisps is what I am about. They are the fuel of life. What else? We were up to Minamino. We did Minamino. We'll do some comments. We are live, so we'll do some of the comments that we're getting in, not just the ones offering us tea. So what have we got? Let's have a little quick flick through. So people are talking about crisp. There you go. I knew it. Apparently, there was once a limited kettle pesto flavoured crisp. It was incredible. What long lost crisp flavour would you bring back? Says Robert Mason. Any thoughts, Mo? Any crisps you bring back that you're missing?
I don't know. I don't really lust after crisps in that same way. I mean, I'm always the dissenting voice on this part of the show. You may have noticed, but I'm happy with my crisp choices in general. I'm trying to think of what I liked when I was a kid. To be honest, they're all still around. In fact, if I was going to change anything about crisps, I would say Wotsits. You know, the big bags of Wotsits. They're now like 60% air and 40% Wotsits. We need to get that ratio back to 70-30 on the Wotsit side. That's my only comment on it. Outside of that, yeah, I think y'all need
Someone
to find
says, who has the weakest tea in the Anfield Wrap office? Well, believe it or not, there's actually people in the Anfield Wrap office who don't have tea. Hiya, Tom. All right. So we've got Tom behind the camera there who neither drinks nor makes tea. See, it's outrageous.
The thing is, though, I'm 100% with Tom on this because I don't do either of those either. And the reason why is because when I first did work experience and I was like 14, my dad said to me, you know what? If they ask you to make tea, make the worst cup of tea in the world because they'll never ask you to make tea again.
Oh, terrible. That's Tory behaviour.
But no, it's no business of mine. Like, why am I serving you lot to drink that I don't want?
Hot drinks for the team. Hot drinks for the team. Anyway, Inter Milan tonight then, let's talk about that. So we talked about this in depth on Under the Lights last night. We also had Daniele Fisichella. Daniel, I always get this bit wrong. What are you filming that for? Fuck that.
if it's like the racing driver, then it's Fisichella.
Fisichella, there you go. So he's an expert on Inter Milan and he is on Under the Lights. So you not only get us talking about the game and all the build-up, you get a bit of insight from the Inter Milan side of things. But as I said on that show, and I will say again now, I don't want no blasé about this, either on the pitch or off it. It's Inter Milan.
Yeah.
It's a big game. It's a big game at Anfield. And you think about all the teams and all the sets of fans that had swapped places with us right now, both in terms of going for 4 competitions, but in terms of playing Inter Milan, Inter Milan at home, spring night. Brilliant.
It is brilliant. Like, I'm bringing a friend of mine who hasn't been for a while, and she's been telling me she's absolutely nervous. She's bricking it, and I've been telling her that there's no need. We've got no time for that. Like, you can be nervous now, but when we get within 50, 500 feet of the ground, then it's all amps up. And she's watching, so I'm saying this to you again. But yeah, 100%. These are the games that we need to go in there full force. And as much as the lead is an advantage, we have to be sure we go into a mindset of this job is not done yet.
Yeah.
And the players will have that mindset, but we need to have that too. So if there is a tricky moment, maybe they score the first goal, we need to be like, okay, come on lads, get back into it. And
I think it'll help that, you know, this time, like when we played AC, not all their fans travel because there was mixed messages and things like that. This time, you know, full complement of Inter fans. They'll come, they'll sing, they'll shout. We've literally got a song about them as well.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Bring it on.
So we can, I'm sure we can manage to sing that at them. And yeah, I just hope that, you know, people aren't just like, well, it's done, like you say, it's 2-0. I mean, Klopp in his press conference was saying 2-0 is the lead that's been turned over the most often in football. I think he might have made that up.
Yeah. Andrew Beasley certainly kind of put a big hole in it on Twitter.
Well, there was, I mean, I found the stat myself that said there's only one team in 41 instances that's lost by 2 goals plus in the home first leg and then gone on to progress from the first knockout stage. That was United
against PSG.
PSG, but then there was away goals in play as well. So, you know, I think Inter Milan looked good, I thought, in the first leg. But equally, they didn't have a shot on target.
No.
Liverpool dominated the possession. And okay, they hit the bar and they caused us some problems and they were quite front foot early on. But I think that was their chance.
Yeah, I do. And they've had a bit of a dry run since, as I mentioned on the overview last week, but then on Friday night, I think they scored 6 goals against Salernitana, and everybody was tweeting me about it, so I hear everyone. But that can go both ways. Like, they can kind of put a bit more confidence in them, saying, okay, we've got some goals under our belt now going into the Liverpool game. Martinez got a hat-trick, so he'll be feeling good. But, I mean, I'm not being funny here. We're not Salernitana.
Yeah, exactly. Bottom of the league, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're one of the top teams in the world. We've got Matip back available. Yes. Potentially Thiago as well, by the sound of the manager. He said, you know, he hasn't been out too long. He's trained. He's okay. He was less encouraging about Bobby. He said he'd train, but he'd probably need more training before he's in contention to play. But, you know, those two alone, Matip and Thiago, coming back into the side, that's a big boost in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, I think especially Thiago, because the kind of calm control that his partnership with Fab exudes is exactly the kind of thing we need in this game. Because I think it's going to be one that, for the most part, we're going to be attacking, we're going to be trying to score goals, but I think for the most part, we're going to be trying to contain. We're going to be trying to, because we've got lots of games in this run, and we're trying to keep the momentum going, so we don't want to overexert ourselves in any one game. So I think we go into that game with that mindset, which is maybe why we've seen sometimes where it's kind of turned down a little bit and it's been a bit of a dicey period in the game. But if we have that kind of control, which means, like you say, even when they have dangerous moments, they don't convert them into dangerous chances. If we can kind of keep that distance, then I think we'll be sound.
Tom says he's driving up from Nottingham tonight and he's going to be scranning skips the whole way. So fair play to him. Mitchell, cheeky bastard, says, looks like the lads forgot their PE kits and had to pick stuff up from lost property.
As a matter of fact, I'll have you know I've actually just come from the gym, so...
I've got no excuse, I'm just a scruff. And I'm more than comfortable with that. Okay, moving on. Someone saying they wouldn't start Thiago tonight. Other people saying they'd maybe bring him on around 60. I mean, this is the other thing that Klopp was really emphasising again in the press conference. He's delighted that he's got the option of 5 subs.
Yes.
He's looking to use the 5 subs. And I almost think, saying that publicly is almost a message to the team as well. So, like, if you're not in the 11 tonight, don't get too downhearted because you might be in the 5 that's going to come on later in the game.
Yeah, and everybody's important. It's going to take the whole squad to manage this 90 minutes. And I think that message has kind of got through, not just from the managers being consistent when he's saying it, because he's pretty much said it since the whole 5 subs thing came in back in lockdown, that it's important for him to have as many different options to maximise winning games. But we've seen how many times that the substitutions have been important in recent games. So that will tell them that as well. Everyone needs to be on their toes at all times, whether you're starting or, like you say, if you're sitting on the bench waiting for an opportunity.
How did Everton get on this night?
Well, the other reason why I'm wearing this shirt is it's kind of an in memoriam to hope. Because I do think the hope has gone from them now. Like, before it was kind of like, there's too many other bad teams. I'm not sure there are anymore. I'm really not sure there are anymore. And then you look at the games they've got to come, and it's like...
I mean, look, let's look at it here. Watford and Norwich looking... I mean, Norwich are gone.
Norwich are gone.
Watford... Little bit of fight in the title against
against
Arsenal.
They've got a couple of match winners.
Though.
Yeah, exactly. But then this is the thing. It's like the Hodge kind of. You can almost see the Hodge Palace blueprint and how it would kind of transform in Watford. It's just whether or not it still works anymore.
Burnley have
got
won
enough.
3 of 26 games so far.
They've got enough. They know what they're doing in this period of the game. They will get enough points. I thought maybe they'd be a bit dicey. Like. Basically, it's Everton, Leeds, Brentford and Watford for 2 places.
You think Burnley are going to...
Yeah. I think Burnley and Newcastle will be too good.
I mean, Newcastle are like one of the form sides in the league now, aren't they? It's like, it's...
I mean, I'm watching Newcastle play Chelsea at the weekend thinking that I might take something off them. So that shows how much they've improved. And this period alone is probably enough to get them out. But you look at the team last night, and we've heard for a lot of the time in the last few months, and even I said it as well, it's like, well, they've got players out, when they get the players back, blah, blah, blah. It's like, Demarai Gray was the only one missing last night, and they were shocking. And I mean, pretty much everybody who starts on the pitch behind the centre circle was terrible.
Yeah.
All of them. And you can't win games like that.
Carrick called them a championship defence, didn't he?
I mean, that's kind. Like, the thing is, I was watching the Huddersfield-Nottingham Forest game at the same time. Like, half the Forest team when they got into Everton's team, for real. And Forest are kind of mid-table championship side. So, I mean...
it doesn't look good, does it, being serious? Like, since the turn of the year, Everton have won 3 games. And they were against Brentford, Leeds and Boreham Wood. And I heard Ali McCoist this morning basically saying, like, I didn't watch the game, the Boreham Wood game. He said if you did watch it, he said you weren't like these streets apart. Do you know what I mean?
It wasn't like a Marine Spurs scenario, put it that way. Not at all. And yeah, I was worried that they would actually genuinely lose that game, but I'm glad they didn't, because hopefully it appears like it's written in the stars for us to knock them out in the semi-finals one more time.
So yeah, they've lost 7 games since the turn of the year, Everton, and it appears they are not getting too much of a new manager bounce.
There's plenty of fun stats as well, like we've won more Champions League games than they've won Premier League games this season.
Steve there with the old classic. What time do Everton kick off? Every 12 minutes. The old ones are the best. Joseph says, I want Everton to stay up because we usually beat them. He also says 2 home games for the Ev next, Wolves and Newcastle at home. They need 4 points. I mean, Wolves and Newcastle at home, well, why are they beating them?
I don't know. I don't think they are. And to be honest, I understand the point about needing the points, but if Fulham and Bournemouth come up, we normally beat those two quite handily. So I think we'll be all right for points. We can afford Everton to go down.
Yeah, Ronnie Hot Dogs. Obviously his real name. Like Barry Lyons the other day. I was on that, by the way.
Harmless lad.
He says mixed emotions if Everton goes down. So there you go.
Well, I mean,
by the way, someone put in the comments, because this is why I sort of mentioned that they were like, come on, Robbo. Everton.
Well, I mean, that was the first thing I said to you today. It was like, obviously, we're going to have to mention it.
I mean, I just think, like if it keeps on the trajectory that it's going on, well, we're going to have to talk about it, aren't we? So it doesn't necessarily have to be today. I mean, they got beat 5-0, and
there's going to be plenty of chances.
You all saw that, and you don't need me to buzz off that. You can do that all by yourself.
I mean, I did see someone say that they were going to cancel their subscription if there's not a reaction show. If they do finally go down.
Yeah, I got a message actually calling for me, Ben Jono, and Kev Walsh to all be honest. A special about Everton. Ronnie Hot Dogs also says, can we get odds on a Diaz no-look pass? I mean, he absolutely spams them, doesn't he?
Yeah.
There's about 30 a game, even when they're totally unnecessary. So I think you'd be all right.
I think they must do like a certain no-look rondo, because they're all at it.
Yeah.
Like, I get why they do it, obviously, because you're trying to distract the defenders and all that kind of stuff. But if it doesn't come off, it looks really stupid. But I mean, to be honest, they're nailing them all at the moment.
Need to mention the t-shirts,
I do
don't
need
we?
to mention the t-shirts.
Been sitting here all this time with them on the plasterer's table in front of us, or wallpaperer's table, whatever it is, decorator's table. Anyway, these are available in the shop. Alisson, the world's greatest goalkeeper, the man who goes to the other end of the pitch and scores the best header you've ever seen. You can get a t-shirt supporting that fella at the Anfield Wrap shop. Show your love for that man and his 1,000,001 haircuts, all of which are good.
And of course, the Egyptian king himself.
There you go.
Bringing it right back round full circle.
All available, amongst other things, at the Anfield Wrap shop. Also as well, if you do like our content and you do like Talking Reds and you want to get a bit more of this kind of thing, download the Anfield Wrap app and get stuck into all the stuff on there. You get some free tokens as well, so you can have a go of any show you like. Basically, I think we're going to leave it there because we've got other stuff to do, other shows to make for our subscribers. So yeah, we'll leave it there. There'll be all the usual post-match reaction tonight following the game against Inter Milan, which will hopefully be another victory for Liverpool. We are on the run now, 15 unbeaten, 12 straight wins. All the best, Inter Milan. Bring on your Internazionale.